Additional aids and services are available to individuals with disabilities. To make such a request, please contact us by email, by clicking the Help tab in the PD portal, or at pdportal@tamu.edu, by phone, including Relay Texas at 1-800-441-7323, or in writing to Train PD, PD Portal Support, 4477 TAMU, College Station, Texas 77843. Both a transcript and accessible document of the content presented in this webinar can be found as resources in the course description. Click on the blue links under Course Resources in the description. When a link is clicked, a new browser window will open.
I am Krista Mosier. I am the host of Teacher Tuesday, and today's session is on comprehensive assessment, unlocking student success with Linda Ross. And now we have Linda Ross, who is a TWC AEL Program Support Specialist.
Welcome to Teacher Tuesday. Today's topic is comprehensive assessments, unlocking student success. This is really a topic that's relevant to all program staff, especially though our teachers, our career navigators, and program directors. As Krista mentioned, I'm Linda Ross with TWC AEL, and I'm so excited to be here today with you as we delve into the crucial pieces of AEL comprehensive assessments, important for the program's success. All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to cover three key areas. First, we'll define comprehensive assessment, essential components, and process, including all the required elements. Then we'll review how to use assessment data effectively to align for success, focusing on student outcomes. And finally, we'll explore ways to personalize learning and support for student growth using the information gathered from the comprehensive assessment. By the end of this session, I hope you'll view comprehensive assessment as a critical part of managing a successful program. Know the required elements, understand how all the components impact your students, tailor MSGs to individual student goals and skills, show how EFLs and test results can contribute to better student outcomes. And number 6, recognize how the comprehensive assessment approach results in stronger student and program achievement through higher retention rates, accelerated progress, and increased completions. Wow, there are so many stakeholders. Comprehensive assessment isn't just about the individual student. It impacts a whole network of stakeholders, from the student themselves, who are the heart of the process, to their families, to the teachers and program staff, career navigators, curriculum leads, program directors, and local workforce boards. Additional stakeholders include workforce solutions offices, one-stop partners, community partners, and finally, employers and businesses who work with our providers to identify training needs that provide opportunities for our students. As you can see, each stakeholder plays a role directly or indirectly in our students' lives. Before we jump into the nuts and bolts, just a quick review of many AEL services. We already understand the importance of what we do when we're serving our AEL population through the services we offer. Everything from assisting individuals with attaining their HSC to becoming proficient in English, to pursuing their career goals, as well as helping reintegrate justice-involved individuals. We also offer basic workplace literacy training or targeted intensive services for our internationally trained professionals. We use digital literacy to our advantage as well. It gives us ways to reach even more students through remote or distant learning classes. And the instruction we give to students on digital literacy helps prepare them for an ever-changing online world where so much of our day-to-day activities are now being conducted. We even have assistance with those math-challenged individuals like me by providing the Math Assistance Call Center, MAC, as a free one-on-one resource. While all these offerings provide opportunities to our students, the comprehensive assessment ensures each of these services effectively meet the diverse needs of our students. Okay, let's shift gears now and explore the core elements of the comprehensive assessment. Think of these elements as the nuts and bolts holding together a well-oiled machine. Each piece, each step is essential for the machine to perform and yield positive results. So why comprehensive assessment? Well, mainly because the comprehensive assessment takes a holistic approach to ensuring student success. It's not simply determining eligibility or testing. It allows us to meet students where they are, and that includes their goals, their education, and employment history. It digs deeper into individual needs by uncovering potential barriers, such as childcare or transportation issues, food insecurity, and even homelessness, which allows us to identify support services that are needed now to help the students transition to learning easier, paving the way for higher retention and completion rates. Comprehensive assessment is a proactive approach. Having periodic follow-up continues to help identify any changes or potential problems before student learning or ability to continue is impacted. Okay, back to eligibility. The first step in comprehensive assessment is determining whether a student is available for AEL services. We need to verify age, assess the education status. Next, we need to verify Texas residency. And we also look at possible age-related exemptions. These are cases where students aged 16 through 18 can receive our services. If you have a 16-year-old who comes to your program, that 16-year-old must have a court order in order to be able to participate. Individuals who are 17 or 18 must have an attestation that they're not currently enrolled in school. And they need one of the following: parent guardian permission, make sure that's signed and dated on the enrollment form, court order, proof and/or self-attestation that the 17 or 18-year-old lives separate from the parent or guardian, and proof and/or self-attestation of homelessness. Now that we've confirmed eligibility, let's look at student goals. Understanding their goals help drive success. Academic goals like attaining an HSE or pursuing post-secondary education. Career goals, which may involve job training, certification programs, or seeking employment and job advancement. Personal goals, including financial self-sufficiency, life skills development, family literacy, and citizenship, and English proficiency goals, both for everyday life and for specific career paths. Now we're going to take a look at how all of these elements come together from a process perspective. Imagine a student walks through your doors. Our comprehensive assessment unfolds like this. We verify program requirements, ensuring the student is eligible for our services. Then we assess their reading, math, language, and digital literacy skills. So we have a baseline for their learning journey. Then we have the student complete the ITEC plan. This is where we get to know the student. We understand their history and their goals. Additional discussions with the student helps to build rapport and trust and bonding. This is a crucial step to the comprehensive assessment process, as it also includes barrier identification. We proactively uncover potential obstacles our students may be facing, anticipating challenges, and brainstorming solutions together. Next, we work on support planning. This also involves the student. It helps us with the student determine what resources will help them thrive, such as tutoring, counseling, childcare, transportation assistance. Once needs are confirmed, We work internally and with our partner stakeholders. Referrals are made. I know this is a lot, but the work doesn't stop there. There needs to be a process to follow up to ensure the identified obstacles that could make a student drop out or not perform have been addressed. And then there's goal setting. Together, we establish achievable targets, breaking down the students' long-term goals into manageable steps, setting them up for success. Moving on to what's mandatory. To ensure consistency and effectiveness, certain elements of the comprehensive assessment are required. The first two required elements include data collection, documentation, and matching in teams. And the second one is release of information. I'm going to highlight just a couple in each area. When we're looking at data collection and documentation, make sure the enrollment form is signed and dated. Ensuring that we protect personally identifiable information is paramount. It's critical, right? We've got a lot of information about our students in our hands. Once we get this data, we want to have it entered into teams, and we want to match the data in the team's participant profile to the information that was collected from the student. A best practice here would be to create a document checklist to help ensure compliance. As far as the release of information goes, the release of information may be integrated in the student enrollment form. However it is presented, please make sure that the student signs and dates the release of information. This allows us to serve the student and collaborate with partner organizations. Remember, individuals who won't sign must be referred elsewhere. Also, ensure data sharing agreements are in place with partners. This helps to promote a collaborative approach to student support. An example would be an MOU with your organization and Workforce Solutions. Testing, placement, gains, and outcomes. There's a lot of information that's included in the AEL testing guide, but I want to highlight just a few here. Assess individuals before enrolling them in class or services to ensure proper placement for optimal learning. Transparency is important. Provide the test results to the student and to the instructor. On to waitlist management. Our goal at TWC is to avoid waitlist altogether, and we can do that by providing immediate services whenever possible. Some of those different immediate services that can be given so the student doesn't lose interest before classes start is maybe getting them engaged in distance learning or workforce development activities such as career exploration, or maybe they start participating in some digital or financial literacy options. If the individual is waitlisted, be sure to engage regularly to keep them motivated and informed. We don't want them to drop out before they even start. And number 5, orientation. Orientation should be customized for each AEL service, providing relevant information and setting the stage for student success. Don't forget to enter a career services entry in Teams to capture providing that orientation. The following set of required elements further ensures the personalized experience. The ITEC plan, so critical for finding out goals. This important document must be completed during orientation. It includes the short-term and long-term goals, and it gives us a roadmap view for the student's education and career journey. For students who are referred from WIOA Title I programs, a copy of their Universal Employment Training Plan, the ETP, is acceptable. This keeps the student from having to complete another form. Assigned teachers and career navigators should review the student ITEC plan upon completion. The plan provides insights to how the student can best be supported to achieve their goals. And once again, there should be periodic updates and reviews, ensuring it remains relevant as the student's skills and circumstances evolve. Support services. Barriers or challenges are more than disability related. All providers must assess each student's need for support services and connect students with appropriate resources via referrals to help ensure successful program participation. We just covered support service needs determination. Now let's delve a little deeper about referrals. If a student is ineligible for our AEL services, we connect them to suitable alternatives, such as programs for college-ready individuals. If a student faces challenges that might impact retention, such as homelessness, food insecurity, disabilities, mental health concerns, transportation issues, or dependent care needs, we connect them to appropriate resources and support systems. Co-enrollment with WIOA core programs and partners can also be explored, expanding the scope of the student support network. It's also about identifying needs, addressing those needs internally and through referrals, and following up to ensure the need has been addressed. This required comprehensive assessment piece improves retention and outcomes. Digital literacy and access questionnaire. Programs should assess individuals before enrollment into classes or services to ensure they have the necessary skills and access to thrive in a digital learning environment. By the way, we've developed a digital literacy and access questionnaire, and we'll have that out soon. So stay tuned. Let's take a look at some other comprehensive assessment elements. By the way, the items that are underlined will be explored with a little more depth in the following slides. All of these elements work together to create a holistic picture of each student, empowering us to tailor our support and guide them towards their goals. I'm going to jump to number 10, learning style assessments or questionnaires, such as BARC. This is a great questionnaire identifying different learning styles so you can best approach how the instruction is given. Informal assessments to gauge ongoing progress, additional diagnostic tools for a deeper understanding of learner needs, data sharing and collaboration with relevant partners and stakeholders. And the part I really like is believing in the student, recognizing the student, and celebrating their achievements. That goes such a long way. I can't tell you about the number of times where we're the ones that believe in them, maybe more so than their own family. And with our encouragement, it helps them stay motivated. And then they start to believe in themselves. And you'd be surprised at the number of students who come back and thank us for that belief and tell us all their successes that have occurred since they've exited the program. So to me, number 15 is a big, huge one. Sneak peek at the new enrollment intake form. The intake form captures essential student information, including demographics, contact details, education history, employment background, and veteran status. The arrows highlight sections that help us understand the student starting point and potential needs. Pages 4 and 5 of the form delve into additional reporting characteristics like homelessness, English language learner status, cultural barriers, immigrant status, dependent information, and participation in other programs like WIOA Title I. This form also includes the participant acknowledgement and release of information. You can see it highlighted with a little pen and signature on the lower right-hand corner. The orange signature represents the guardian or parent, which is required for the students within the 16 to 18 age bracket, unless exemption per the previous slide. Here are some important reminders regarding student information. Always check teams before creating a new student profile. You'd be surprised about how many duplicate profiles there are. And at the end of the year, we have to clean those up and merge data. And that can be a very time-consuming process. New and exited students must complete a new enrollment form. For current students, you can print out their participant profile from Teams and verify contact information is correct. Update it in Teams if needed, update it on that form, have the student sign to verify those changes. I remember when we were working on this that oftentimes students change their phone numbers and their emails a lot. So verifying the information in the system is correct really helps us in terms of being able to reach them when we need to. Oh, by the way, in Teams, don't update any other information during a period of participation. Only the contact information should be updated. And of course, retain all enrollment documents in the student file. This is a grant requirement. And to track career services, we may want to use an attendance log for orientation and testing. This helps facilitate adding career services information in Teams, as well as calculating monthly career service cost expenditures for CEDAR entry. Orientations, ITech plans, on-ramp, bridge, and transition programs are all crucial components of the comprehensive assessment. We've already mentioned how orientation should be tailored to the specific AEL program the student is signed up for. Orientation ensures students receive the information and support they need to navigate the program, things like your attendance policy. The individual training and career plan really charts each of the students' personalized journey to success. We're outlining their academic goals, their career aspirations, the support services they need, as well as transition plans for when they're leaving the program. On-ramp, bridge, and transition includes access so that students that are in an IET or an integrated EL Civics class have additional support and scaffolding to help them navigate and progress more smoothly. It also helps ensure the student is ready for the program rigor and the time commitment required. It's a really good idea to have that bridge or on-ramp or transition class just to ensure they're prepared for the challenges of taking on an IET and learning workplace training. Some orientation best practices: clearly present your expectations for the participant, include the student handbook and program policies, include the attendance requirement, like I had just mentioned. Equip students with the tools for success, cover time management, learning style assessments, note-taking, and study tips, as well as strategies for overcoming test anxiety. Some programs conduct a success prep class as an extension of orientation, where these different subtopics are discussed in more depth. Support resources introduce the students to available support resources such as tutoring, the Math Assistance Call Center, counseling, and our partner organizations. Include student rights, the grievance procedures, as well as code of conduct. And another thing you might want to consider is inviting former students or workforce solutions or local employers or industry reps to speak at your orientation. This gives the student an idea of how the program can best benefit them, as well as what they can look forward to. We've already talked about the academic planning, the goal setting, the progress tracking, career services, support services. The big thing, though, too, is the next steps, planning for transition after program completion, ensuring students are prepared for those next steps, whether it's further education, job placement, or other personal goals. I should have added the Distance Education Call Center. That is an important resource and student support. Data management essentials. The Texas Educating Adults Management System is our centralized system for managing student data and ensuring efficiency and consistency. Protecting personal identifiable information is paramount. Collect only authorized data, provide proper staff training on data handling, limit data use, and minimize proliferation. Implement encryption and access controls, secure and lock data appropriately, and promptly report any suspected or known violation or breaches. It's like the handling of our credit cards. We hate it when hackers manage to get into our personal information. We have a lot of information, detailed information stored with regards to our students. We need to protect them. It is a requirement to have standard operating procedures for these 7 areas: strategic outreach and recruitment, comprehensive assessment and orientation. That's this topic. Customer profile, required data collection, referral co-enrollment via core partners, support service needs determination, exit and follow-up tracking, and HSE subsidy use and tracking. We've discussed the components. Now let's discuss how comprehensive assessments help us achieve greater alignment for success. Research by Thomas Bailey, a leading expert in community college redesign, shows programs focusing on quality time with students throughout their journey see positive impacts. These include improved retention, faster progress, higher completion rates. Mr. Bailey also has a book out, and he has several articles on this topic and many more. This slide highlights information from a TWC Commission study on the impact of comprehensive assessment provided during orientation or within the first 3 weeks of class. The study found that comprehensive assessment improves student retention and performance in TWC AEL programs. The intensive group, who received a higher level of intake services, showed more positive outcomes. This includes the higher average gains, passing more HSC exams, and reaching their goals in a shorter time frame. While the study involved a limited number of providers, it does highlight the potential of comprehensive assessment to improve student and program success. So building trust, I don't have to tell this audience how important it is and all the different elements of it. The key thing is that as we work with our students, we've got a welcoming and encouraging atmosphere where the students feel comfortable and they feel comfortable about expressing themselves. We want to ensure that we're fostering a sense of community and belonging, making it clear that the students are valued members of our learning community. Nothing discourages us more than to feel like an outsider. By use of contextualized learning strategies, we are connecting with our students. We're showing them the knowledge and skills relevant to real life situations, making what they're learning relevant and engaging, making it worth the time that they've spent to come in and attend and participate in our programs. And then, of course, providing accommodations as needed. It gets difficult if you can't move around because of class seating or if you're not able to view something. So always being mindful of those potential blockages. As I've mentioned, comprehensive assessment empowers educators to better understand each student's unique circumstances, their strengths, and their challenges. This understanding allows us to build a pyramid of support, leading to increased retention and student success. Through targeted support, through personalized instruction, and continuous monitoring, we are helping to drive that retention and student success, which also equates to program success. Planning for measurable skills gains. It's very important. Here's how we approach it. Identify the student's goals. What do they want to achieve? Is it improving basic literacy, attaining a GED, maybe pursuing further education, gaining employment? Choose the appropriate MSG type based on the student's intake level, goals, and program study. We select the most relevant MSG type to track their progress. I've got more information about this in the next slide. We develop a support plan. We ensure students understand how achieving an MSG, a targeted MSG, contributes to their overall success and to their overall goals. For workplace literacy, we partner with employers and establish clear MOUs outlining services, expectations, and progress milestones. Continuous monitoring through assessments and employer feedback allows us to intervene promptly if needed. As I mentioned, here are the details to those targeted MSGs. So you've got our 6 MSG types type 1A through 5, and next to it, you've got different student goals and the MSG description. So really, it's aligning the MSG types with their goals. Collaborating with our partners is key. We can't do it alone. Partnering with other organizations expands the scope of our support, and it opens doors to new opportunities for our students. Organizations like Workforce Solution, it connects the students to support services that we can't give. Workforce preparation, job placement, and career services. Also housed in many Workforce Solution offices is Voc Rehab, another great resource for our students. Local employers create opportunities for participation in workplace literacy programs, IET development, and potential employment. All great partners to collaborate with to really help meet the diverse needs of our many students. This slide represents some ways we tailor support services to meet student needs. Accommodations, implementing accommodations for disabilities, both learning and physical, and addressing language barriers to ensure equitable access for all students. Technology access, this is a really critical area that we all should be concerned about. Students need to have access to technology. Having computer labs, device loaner programs, online resources, hotspots, and digital literacy training, all important because today there's not a whole lot of things you can do with pen and paper anymore. It's all just about online. We build a strong referral network to connect students with items such as childcare and housing, healthcare, health and human services. Perhaps they need TANF or SNAP benefits, and then other relevant support organizations as needed. Continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is essential for program effectiveness. It's essential for student success. We achieve this through program evaluation, regularly assessing the effectiveness of our programs and making necessary adjustments. You should receive periodic feedback from staff and students on this process. This can be conducted through surveys, focus groups, and program evaluations. Professional development, courtesy of our TCAL staff. Thank you guys so much. Data-driven decisions, information that we gain from teams in other areas. And student feedback as well, encouraging students to provide their input so that we can continue to improve our programs and services and see where they think we're at. Measuring student progress allows us to provide timely support and celebrate achievements. We use the baseline assessments, goal check-ins, periodic testing, and then I already mentioned this was my favorite, the celebrations to recognize achievements, celebrate milestones and successes, all of that fostering a positive and motivating learning environment. Personalized learning and support for student growth. Remember, one size doesn't fit all. We really need to take a look at how we can adapt. Let's delve into the specifics of EFL and test results. EFLs represent a student's current academic level, determined through NRS-approved tests. Test results offer valuable insights into student strengths and areas for improvement, highlighting specific knowledge gaps and learning needs. The combination of EFLs and test results allow for that personalized learning path, targeted interventions based on specific needs, and realistic goal setting for achievable and motivating outcomes. On the next slide, we're going to take a look at a practical example. What you see is a student's CASAS baseline individual skills profile. You look towards the very bottom of the screen. It is showing that this student's ready to pass the GED Language Art exam. So my question is, why wait until 40 hours are accumulated for a post-test? Wouldn't it be better to provide the student with a GED ready test after they've completed 12 direct contact hours? And if that student happens to get a score of 145 or greater, shouldn't we be providing them with an HSC voucher to continue to encourage them and for them to be able to see some immediate results, some immediate outcomes from the time spent. Once again, why do we have to wait the minimum number of hours when this test result is showing that there's a very high likelihood that this student is going to pass their reasoning through language arts exam? So by setting attainable goals and providing appropriate support, we're creating a sense of progress, achievement, motivation. I know some things take longer, but whenever possible, it really helps to motivate me if I can see progress. So just a thing to consider. We've covered these already, but students often face various barriers beyond academic ones that can hinder their progress. So recognizing and addressing these barriers are crucial. Additional student challenges include the physical disabilities, the learning disabilities, language barriers, and scheduling conflicts. I think it's wonderful that now we can provide flexible options such as distance learning to accommodate work schedules, family responsibilities, and other time constraints. So just being mindful of these different diverse needs certainly goes a long way to keeping students in the program until they reach their desired outcomes. Just a little bit more information with regards to learning disabilities, the extended time, assistive technology, alternative formats, and quiet test time. These accommodations help level the playing field and create more access to learning opportunities. The same with the language barriers. Language barriers can pose significant challenges for students, and here are some strategies to ensure effective communication and support. When my mom and I came to the United States, neither one of us spoke English. It had to have been so tough for her as an adult. I was still pretty young. So children adapt very quickly, but for an adult, it can be a fairly traumatic experience, feeling like you're cut off. So by providing these different assists, we're certainly helping the student to feel welcome, to show that we understand some of the challenges that they're faced with. We're going to go through a couple of scenarios. Let's go ahead and go through to scenario 1. There we go. Gabby, I'm going to introduce you to Gabby. Gabby is 17 years old. She has a child. She needs childcare. She's homeless and she has transportation challenges. And oh, by the way, she's got math anxiety. She wants her GED, she really does. And then she wants to pursue a healthcare career. Now, I got to tell you, I know a Gabby in real life. I worked with her when I was in Workforce Solutions and then later as a provider. So this is a very real scenario. I'm going to ask you different strategies that you would employ to help Gabby out so that she can achieve her goals of a GED and entering into a healthcare career. You might want to refer Gabby to the Texas Health and Human Services. If she's not already receiving TANF or SNAP, I would say she's a very, very good candidate to being approved for those programs. Refer to Workforce Solutions. They also partner with HHSC and they have the Choices program, which really allows our students to participate and be co-enrolled in their program as well as ours. They get additional benefits like transportation assistance for every single day. That Workforce Board gets credit when Gabby's enrolled in an AEL program, free childcare. And since Gabby's 17, she doesn't qualify for our HSE vouchers, but you know what? Workforce Solutions can pay for them. So, Workforce Solutions definitely is our friend and Gabby's friend here. Community partners for temporary housing, and then the Math Assistance Call Center. So, potentially we could enroll her in the Success Prep class, the virtual class, HSE and distance learning classes, and then healthcare bridge class and a healthcare IET. Additional areas that can provide support is the food pantry if needed. And then, of course, we want to connect her with employers, right? So that once she gets her GED, once she gets her credential in the healthcare field, she has opportunities to meet with employers and become hired. Having employers involved in our IETs is really a great strategy because we're fulfilling their needs with qualified, skilled professionals. So let's get those employers involved early. I'm going to just show you a little bit about John. John's goals is to improve literacy, get his GED, and he wants a career in welding. He's 22 years old and he has a very high EFL. He's unemployed. He recently got out of Justice Involved facility. He doesn't have any computer access and limited computer skills. So this is an area where I should have entered distant education call center. But I've also got John on the pathway to work with Workforce Solutions, as far as employment assistance. Within our own doors, we've got the computer lab or perhaps a device loaner program. Let's enroll him in that success prep class so he can learn more about time management and test taking skills, note taking skills, more about what his learning style is. Then we can definitely get him into HSE classes, distance learning, and welding IET if it's offered. Hopefully it will be. Rather than have John wait for the minimum 40 hours of instruction, after John has completed 12 direct contact hours, because of his very high EFL, let's go ahead and give him a GED ready test. And then let's give him that voucher if he scores 145 or greater on the ready test. That is going to be such an incredible motivator to see progress that quickly. John is going to think, I can do this. I can really do this. The other thing we should be doing as well is providing some intensive services for John, providing corrections reentry services like housing support or mental and physical health care or family reunification services. These are things that are referrals, but they're also referrals, connects, and follow up, right? There are justice involved, friendly employers. So if you've got students out there that are having a hard time trying to get employment because they have a background, there are certainly quite a few employers who are more than willing to hire somebody, and especially someone who's gone through your program and has successfully completed the program. So just some ideas of retention and outcome strategies for John. Really quickly, I want to talk about Amani's goals. She's an English language learner, just like my mom. She's an ITP. She was an engineer in her home country. She's having issues with childcare, language barrier, not being employed, and people not recognizing her previous education and her credentials. So I would look at referring her to Workforce Solutions to see if she qualifies for free or reduced cost childcare, as well as employment assistance, and then enrolling her in ESL and distance learning classes, as well as ESL for professionals. We definitely want to ensure that Ms. Amani gets ESL for professional intensive services, customized ELA for specific jobs like engineering, preparation support for additional licensing or certification exams if required, job development and searching in her chosen field. And then, of course, credential evaluation. It can be very expensive to get your credentials evaluated, especially for some of our population. So just different things to consider for Ms. Amani. I've got some resources in here with some links. I'm going to update it with a few more links and resources. By the way, I hope you come back for part 2. Part 2 is going to be on the basics. And this is where we get providers to come in and tell you what they've been doing and how they've successfully integrated the comprehensive assessment process in their programs and what they've seen. Thank you all so much for your time.
We hope you enjoyed this pre-recorded webinar. After you have passed the final test with a score of 80% or greater and have received your certificate of completion, please take a few moments to complete the course evaluation. Participant feedback helps Train PD at TCAL continue to provide high-quality professional development. To leave a course feedback, please go to the completed portion of your transcript. To do this, hover over the My Learning tab and select View Your Transcript. Click on the drop-down arrow next to the word Active and select Completed. Then, Click Evaluate in the drop-down menu next to the course you just completed. Please note that your feedback is greatly appreciated.